What is poppin'? What's going on YouTube world? My name is Ghiman McKinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. Appreciate you guys for watching today. Be sure to smash this like button right about now, as it does help these videos get out to the public and the channel to grow overall. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly, almost every single day if I can, and turn on post notifications too, so you don't miss a single one of those videos that I post. It's only right, you guys. Listen, I gotta call it like it is. I'm sorry, I don't want to do this, but the Philadelphia Eagles are overrated. They're not Super Bowl contenders. They're barely a playoff team. They're not gonna beat the Saints come playoff time. They're not probably gonna beat the 49ers come playoff time. Well, they might beat the 49ers, but again, I won't bet on it. They're for sure not beating the Green Bay Packers. They're probably not beating the Seattle Seahawks. And again, I just don't buy this Philadelphia Eagles team as a Super Bowl contender this year. Heck, I don't buy the Dallas Cowboys and the entire NFC East as far as Super Bowl expectations this year. The Philadelphia Eagles are a mess. They're overrated. And I want to seriously focus in on their quarterback, Carson Wentz, because I do think Carson Wentz, we kind of put him on a pedestal that he does not deserve to be on right now. And I think that Carson Wentz, based on the perception we have of him right now, based on what he's done the last 2 seasons and this season, has just been overrated. Carson Wentz is overrated today. And I'm not even sure now if he's better than Dak Prescott. I'm just being real, guys. I want to focus in on the Philadelphia Eagles really quick. Again, like I said, this team's a mess. This team is very inconsistent running the football. Doug Peterson's play calling has sucked at times. He does not have his team prepared. They're not disciplined. They have underperformed. The Philadelphia Eagles have everything you need to win a Super Bowl. They have the great offensive line. They have a great, talented quarterback in Carson Wentz. They have 3 legitimate running backs, okay? And 2 of them being Jordan Howard and Miles Sanders. They have great running backs. They have the great wide receivers. I know that Deshaun Jackson has not played, but they have Alshon Jeffrey. They got Arcega Whiteside. They got Aguilar. They have Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert. They have an embarrassment of riches at wide receiver. So I don't want to hear, oh, Deshaun Jackson's out. There's injuries. You have depth. Stop making excuses. This defensive line is nasty. This defensive line is great. Now, granted, they've been inconsistent, but again, when we look at this Philadelphia Eagles team, they're a talented team, and they're underperforming and underachieving, and they're a mess. They've not been coached well. The secondary is god-awful. I mean, this secondary, man, they made Kirk Cousins look like a Hall of Famer the other day. This secondary is just absolutely terrible. The Philadelphia Eagles needed to trade for Jalen Ramsey. They didn't do it. If I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm talking to the Atlanta Falcons right now to get Desmond Trufant in my locker room, because this Philadelphia Eagles secondary is just trash. And Philadelphia Eagles fans wanted to make excuses last year saying, oh, it's the injuries. That's why our secondary is so bad. And this year, you have players healthy. Now, granted, you've had some players out, but again, that you've been a lot more healthy than you were last year. And the secondary is still absolutely trash. Okay, so I'm done talking about the Eagles. I do think they have a shot to win this division. I really, really do, because the Dallas Cowboys, granted, Dak Prescott lost to Sam Darnold. Did you see Sam Darnold versus the Patriots recently? That guy looked like the worst quarterback in football. The guy had a 3.7 passer rating. Are you kidding me? So the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to make the playoffs as a wild card. Their best route is to win the division. They're only 1 game back. The back end of their schedule is really, really easy. So I don't rule the Philadelphia Eagles out as a playoff team. But Super Bowl, no. Watch that. So I've gotten into why I don't believe in Philadelphia anymore. Let's talk about their quarterback, Carson Wentz, because I think Carson Wentz is overrated. He's just not that guy anymore. And honestly, I've been a prisoner of overrating Carson Wentz. In the offseason, I said the only 2 young quarterbacks that I would take over Carson Wentz heading into the season. He was actually my pick to win league MVP this year. That's how highly I thought of Carson Wentz. Okay, I thought he was better than Dak Prescott heading into this year. The only 2 young quarterbacks I thought that were better than Carson Wentz heading into this year were Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And I gotta tell you, Watson and Mahomes, they're in a class by themselves. The Carson Wentz is not on their level anymore. He's not. He's not in their class. Jared Goff, granted, he has struggled this year, but damn it, Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl, okay? Jared Goff has been to a Super Bowl, and we can count on Jared Goff to win big games and be there when he needs to be. You guys forget, Jared Goff outplayed Aaron Rodgers last year, okay? He outplayed Patrick Mahomes last year. He outplayed Drew Brees in the Superdome in the playoffs last year. So while Jared Goff's not as talented as Carson Wentz, I think that I would take Goff, because I think Goff is going to be there, and he's going to be clutch, and he provides stability for me. He's never missed a game. He's never missed a start. Carson Wentz is always injured. Are we sure Lamar Jackson is better than Carson? Well, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it like that. Are we sure Carson Wentz is better than Lamar Jackson, a guy that has a chance to run for 1,000 yards this year and throw for over 4,000 yards, a guy that's leading the Ravens to a top 2 seed in all the AFC right now? That guy is special. Lamar Jackson, I'm not sure if Carson Wentz is better than him. I'm really not. And dare I say, Dak Prescott, the guy that's won your division 2 of the last 3 years. The guy Dak Prescott that's won your division 2 of the last 3 years. The guy in Dak Prescott that's top three in the league as far as wins go the last 4 seasons, that's won more games than Carson Wentz over the course of his career, that's actually won a playoff game and done something in the playoffs. Are we sure Carson Wentz is better than Dak Prescott? Dak Prescott's never missed a game. Dak Prescott owns Carson Wentz. Every time Carson Wentz sees Dak Prescott, he loses. He loses every time he sees this Dallas Cowboys team and Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott owns Carson Wentz. So again, Carson Wentz more talented. But I hate to say it, I might take Dak Prescott over Carson Wentz right now. And, look, I should have said this before I went on this whole spiel about Carson Wentz and who's better than him and things like that. I think high at Carson Wentz. I think when Carson Wentz is on, he's better than 90% of the quarterbacks in football. And what I mean by that is when Carson Wentz is on his A game, when he's at his peak, he's better than most players in the NFL. Maybe Tom Brady, maybe Aaron Rodgers, maybe Patrick Mahomes, maybe Russell Wilson, maybe Deshaun Watson, maybe about 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 quarterbacks are better when they're on their top A game than Carson Wentz. That's high praise. That's a top 10 quarterback when you're at your best. But Carson Wentz hasn't been his best for about 2 seasons. He really hasn't. And there's a couple areas Carson Wentz lacks. There's a couple areas where Carson Wentz, I have to deduct him points, where he doesn't grade as high as I think people think he grades, but he doesn't grade there as far as my standards go. And that's his ability to step up and win big games. It's his clutch gene, his durability, and his intangibles. All 4 of those things I have questions about. And I want to get to the intangibles just really quickly. I don't want to talk about it too much. In January of this year, it was reported that Carson Wentz can be a little bit selfish, uncompromising, a little hard to coach than Nick Foles, doesn't get along with teammates at times, is not the vocal leader we think he is. So, look, I never have heard anything about Deshaun Watson's leadership. I've never heard anything about Patrick Mahomes' leadership. I've never heard anything about Tom Brady, Drew Brees' leadership. Heck, Aaron Rodgers, I've heard that it's hard to play with Aaron Rodgers, but I haven't really heard anything about Aaron Rodgers' actual leadership. So as much as people want to bash Aaron Rodgers for last year and say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is a coach killer, I've never heard anyone say that Aaron Rodgers just flat out was a bad leader. Never really heard that, okay? So I just think that Carson Wentz, look, Dak Prescott has the intangibles over Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott is a much better leader than Carson Wentz. People want to play for Dak Prescott more than they want to play for Carson Wentz, in my opinion. And I think that Carson Wentz, he's having a hard time getting the best out of these players, getting the best out of the player to the degree that Nick Foles got out of this team. And what did Nick Foles get out of this team? A Super Bowl championship. Carson Wentz can't even get playoff mode out of his teammates. The last season, Carson Wentz was 5-6 as a starter. Now, granted, he was injured. He was maybe hurt a little bit. I get it. But again, he has enough talent to elevate this team and to get the best out of them. I don't think Carson Wentz is quite that leader. I've never heard anyone come out and just flat out say, oh, Carson Wentz is an amazing leader. You just don't hear it that often. You just don't. Okay? And listen, let's talk about Carson Wentz's ability to win big games and his clutch gene. Because the last in his career, Carson Wentz is 9-14 in games decided by 1 score. It's not great. Deshaun Watson's record in those games is better. Dak Prescott's record in those games is better. Patrick Mahomes' record in those games is better. Jared Goff's record in those games are better. Okay? Ever since the 2017 season where Carson Wentz won MVP, what has he done? I want to know what he's done because he hasn't done anything. He just hasn't. He's put up okay numbers. I get it, but I just don't think he's done anything. He has not. He lost to Marcus Mariota in 2017. 2018. I'm talking about 2018, not 2017. 2018, to be clear. Lost to Marcus Mariota. Lost to Kirk Cousins. At home, I might add. Kirk Cousins, is he a great quarterback? He puts up good stats, but I don't think Kirk Cousins is that great of a quarterback. What big game have you seen Kirk Cousins win? That should tell you enough. He blew a 17-0 lead at home last year versus Cam Newton. Okay, last year versus the New Orleans Saints. Goes to New Orleans, gets his brains blown out by Drew Brees and that Saints team, 48-7. You know what Nick Foles did in the playoffs? He was an Alshon Jeffrey drop away from winning that game and leading the Philadelphia Eagles to the NFC Championship game versus the Rams, a team that he actually beat in the season last year when Carson Wentz was hurt. So in 2018, Carson Wentz is 5-6 as a starter. Granted, with great wide receivers, with a great defense, with a great offensive line, with a top 5 coach, I think, in Doug Peterson. By the way, Doug Peterson's on a short leash with me. I think that we've kind of been giving him some lean way since he's won that Super Bowl. So Doug Peterson, he's a good head coach, but he's not been a great head coach the last 2 seasons. He just hasn't been a great head coach. He hasn't. Now, granted, when Nick Foles came in, he looked like a great coach. I don't know. Maybe something in Nick Foles is not there in Carson Wentz from an intangible standpoint, from just people loving Nick Foles over Carson Wentz. I don't know. But Doug Peterson looks more comfortable calling plays when Nick Foles has been in the lineup. And I get it. Nick Foles is in Jacksonville. He's not better than Carson Wentz. But there's a lot more quarterbacks more talented than Tom Brady. But Tom Brady's just that guy in New England. He just is. And, you know, last year, Nick Foles comes right in, wins 3 straight games, and wins a playoff game on the road versus the Bears, and is literally a drop away from getting to the NFC Championship game. And Carson Wentz is sitting there going 5-6 as a starter. That's not great. It's unacceptable. And this year, Carson Wentz lost to Matt Ryan. The Falcons. See, I get his weapons weren't there, but I don't want to hear it. He has enough weapons around him and a good enough offensive line to where if Carson Wentz is that guy, he's going to pull that W out of his hat. He's going to win that game for you. If he's that guy. If he's what people say he is. Oh, he's in Patrick Mahomes' class. He's in Deshaun Watson's class. If he's that guy, he'll find a way to beat Matt Ryan in this one win Falcons team. The Falcons are terrible, and he lost to them. Came up small, got outplayed by Matt Ryan. He lost to Kirk Cousins again this year. Got his brains blown out by Kirk Cousins this year. That's bad, okay? Lost to the Vikings. Lost to the Detroit Lions at home. Now, granted, there was a drop pass in the end zone. I get it. But again, if Carson Wentz is that guy, you got to find a way to win that game. You just do. The only one signature big-time win since Carson Wentz didn't win MVP. He almost won MVP. Tom Brady won MVP. Carson Wentz got hurt. We know if Carson Wentz would have played the whole season, he would have won MVP, okay? The only win he's had that's been great these past 2 seasons was on the road versus Aaron Rodgers. That's the only win. The only win. So, literally 1 for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's literally 1-8 in his last couple big games. What we label big games, Carson Wentz is literally 1-7 or 1-8. It's not great. And I should have addressed this probably a little bit earlier in the video because I think it's very important. The Eagles made a conscious decision and choice to go with Nick Foles over Carson Wentz, a move that I would have made. I would have taken the more talented guy in Carson Wentz. But we have to ask ourselves this question, okay? Nick Foles, he's 30 years old right now. Now, granted, he's hurt right now, but Carson Wentz has been hurt for pretty much his whole career, okay? So keep that in context, okay? I see quarterbacks like Tom Brady playing in their 40s. I see Phil Rivers playing until he's about 38 years old. Big Ben Roethlisberger playing a long time. Eli Manning playing a long time. Aaron Rodgers playing a long time. Today's rules are designed for quarterbacks to play longer into their career, to lengthen their careers. Listen, age 38 in the NFL, as far as quarterbacks go, is the new age 36, okay? Quarterbacks are playing later into their careers and playing good, okay? Is it not out of the question that Nick Foles, specifically with Philadelphia, because we know he looked bad in St. Louis, has not gotten off to the great start that he's had in Jacksonville, obviously flopped in Philadelphia the first time with Chip Kelly to some degree, okay? Even though he did get them to the playoffs and was a Pro Bowler at one point, okay? But is it not out of the question that Nick Foles had about 8 more years left of football in him, where the team was rallied behind Nick Foles over Carson Wentz, where this team looks better with Nick Foles than Carson Wentz? Could Nick Foles have not won you another Super Bowl? I don't think it's out of the question. And another look, it matters your fit. Fit matters in the NFL. I think it got to a point after Nick Foles won that Super Bowl. He had found the perfect head coach. He found the perfect roster, and he found guys that were falling behind him and wanted to play for him day in and day out. They would go all in and all out for Nick Foles. He may have not been more talented than Carson Wentz, but he was a better leader, and he got the best out of him, okay? That's ultimately all that matters. At this point in the NFL, I honestly really don't care about talent anymore because Baker Mayfield is a talented guy, and what is he doing? Nothing. Baker Mayfield is doing nothing in Cleveland. I've seen a lot more guys more talented than Dak Prescott, but I gotta say it, Dak Prescott's actually won games. He's won the Division II of the last 3 years, okay? So talent to me, at this point in the NFL, unless you're Aaron Rodgers or Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson, talent is overrated at this point in the NFL to me. And I've been a talented guy. I've always given the benefit of the doubt to people that are more talented than their contemporaries, okay? But talent is not everything. Talent does not provide everything in the NFL. Where you have a 53-man roster, especially if you're a quarterback. If you're a quarterback and you can't get the 53-man roster to get behind you, and you're talented, but you can't get the people to follow you, or maybe if you're less talented and you get people to follow you, I'll take the more talented guy that people actually follow and want to play for. Because when I think about the postseason, they're going to be there for that guy. They're going to want to fight for that guy. When they're down 13 points, they're going to want to fight for that quarterback, okay? I just don't get that sense for Carson Wentz when it comes to Nick Foles. And another thing, Carson Wentz is a talented player. As I said, Carson Wentz, when he's on, he might be one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football when he's at his A game. He's not always at his A game because he hasn't been at his A game for literally the past 2 seasons, okay? So my thing is, couldn't you have traded Carson Wentz for a couple maybe a first round pick or 2? Good, because a 25-year-old Carson Wentz that Grant has been injured a little bit, but again, we know he's talented. The New York Giants would have flopped to that. There would have been teams like the Titans that probably would have flopped to that. The Bears. You seen Mr. Trubisky? You mean to tell me that the Chicago Bears couldn't have looked at Carson Wentz and said, hey, we see Mr. Trubisky. Carson Wentz is that much better. There are teams that would have traded for and would have loved to have had Carson Wentz if he was available on the trading block. So Philadelphia could have probably gotten some first-round picks or maybe some defensive backs to help that secondary that Philadelphia Eagles fans are complaining about day in and day out. And I get it. This secondary is bad, and it would bother me if I'm an Eagles fan. I'm a Packers fan, and I'm happy I'm a Packers fan and not an Eagles fan, okay? But either way, we have to acknowledge that the secondary is bad. And you would have had your quarterback in Nick Foles, a guy that we know can win you a Super Bowl. Are we sure Carson Wentz can beat Tom Brady in the playoffs? Or are we thinking he's going to be closer to Peyton Manning in the playoffs? Because what I mean by that is, as great as Peyton Manning was, he choked a lot in the playoffs. Heck, Carson Wentz could be Andy Dalton in the playoffs. We don't know. We haven't seen it. You remember Andy Dalton, the quarterback for the Bengals? Okay, he's still playing today. Andy Dalton, with a top 5 roster in all of football in the playoffs, choked constantly. He had no wins in the playoffs. He got them to the playoffs about 4 or 5 times. Couldn't win any games. Could not win any games. Is Carson Wentz that guy? Or is he Eli Manning? We don't know. We've seen Eli Manning and Joe Flacco in the regular season. But come postseason time, they look like MVP. So you never know about your quarterback until you get to the postseason. And I thought Deshaun Watson was a great player. I still think Deshaun Watson's a great player. But in the playoffs, he looked bad versus the Colts. So Deshaun Watson has something to prove to me in the playoffs too. So again, there's a lot of unknown with Carson Wentz. And I just don't know if he's ever going to be that guy. I don't know if he'll ever be clutch enough. I don't know if he'll ever be good enough. I don't know if he'll ever be a big game quarterback. Because up to this point, ever since he's gotten injured, he's not been a big game quarterback. And I just think that, look, I would have made the move, but the Philadelphia Eagles in a couple years might be regretting letting go of Nick Foles. Because if Carson Wentz does not win a Super Bowl in a Philadelphia Eagles uniform, I think that Carson Wentz is going to win a Super Bowl one day. I believe in Carson Wentz. I think he's a great player. And I think that the Eagles have about a 10-year window if Carson Wentz stays healthy to win a Super Bowl. So if he wins a Super Bowl, he's all good. He's all good. But honestly, he probably should win more because The guy is pretty talented. This Eagles team is really, really good. So my thing is, I have a lot of uncertainty about Carson Wentz. I think this Eagles team's a mess. They're overrated. Carson Wentz is overrated. Doug Peterson's overrated. This team's just a mess. And while they do have a chance to win this division, they're not Super Bowl contenders this year. And I just have a lot of unknowns about the Philadelphia Eagles. I was high on them. I thought they were a Super Bowl team this year. I thought they were going to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl this year. That was my pick. And that's not happening, at least this year. Be sure to comment where you agree with me and disagree with me, guys. Love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video today. Be sure to smash this like button right now if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel if you're new as well. I do post a ton of great sports videos weekly and almost every single day if I can. A fun fact about me is I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world. I want to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. Kind of like Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, Shannon Sharp. You get the point. Okay, I want to do sports, television, and radio for a full living once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. So the best thing you guys can do to just help me continue to grow as a young broadcaster is to just share this channel with all your friends, because potentially if this channel really gets somewhere, I want to start my own network, okay? Or potentially if it doesn't, or if I fall a little bit short, I want to go into a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. So the best thing you guys can do to just flat out just help me grow as a broadcaster, help me learn, get other people hip to this channel, just share this channel with all your friends, share this channel on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. Also, be sure to follow me on all my social media platforms. And once again, guys, just share this channel with everyone you know. Get everyone hipped and watching these videos. Get my voice out there and heard. Share it on Facebook, share it on Twitter, share it on Instagram, all that good stuff. It's been your boy, Ghiman Mckinney, or you can just call me Juice. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in today. I really do. Have a God bless day. Stay motivated, you guys, and I'm out.